Chief Investment Officer for Nomad Royalty Company, and very pleased to be talking to you about a very significant piece of news for Nomad that we announced this week. It's the most important piece of news that we've put out since forming the company in May of 2020. Earlier this week, we announced a very significant streaming transaction on the Greenstone Gold Mine in Ontario, Canada. The reason it's a significant piece of news is it highlights our team's unique expertise and ability to structure very large transactions in the streaming space. It demonstrates that we have a unique pipeline of opportunities and that we're executing from that pipeline to create value from our shareholders. And it demonstrates the strong alignment that we have with Orion Mine Finance, a leading mining finance provider to the mining space and our largest shareholder. So to go into the details of this transaction, earlier this week, we announced a $95 million gold stream transaction on the Greenstone mine. The mine is operated by Equinox Gold. It's a partnership between Equinox and Orion, owned 60-40, 60% by Equinox, 40% by Orion. This is a very significant mine. Once it's up and running, it's going to be one of the largest gold mines in Canada, producing on average 360,000 ounces a year at a very low cost, at $618 all-in sustaining cost. So a very important mine coming online. We're coming in just at the right time in the evolution of this mine with our capital alongside other capital providers. The operators now have the capital they need to move ahead with the construction of the mine, which they announced recently. And so very soon, in fact, by 2024, we will begin receiving our first deliveries from this investment. And these deliveries will be very significant to our portfolio. The mine has a very large resource at 5.5 million ounces currently, but also has a tremendous amount of upside. And as we typically see from these mines, once they get up and running, the operators continue to define the existing resources and discover new resources, which eventually make their way into the mine plan, adding value to our underlying gold stream. From this asset, we will get all the typical benefits that we see with royalties and streams, being number one, a partnership with a very large company, Equinox, significant near-term deliveries and cash flow to Nomad, but also in the long run, a crystallization of that optionality on a very large Canadian gold resource. It's important to talk about the structure as well. It's a very clean and clear structure for this stream with no buybacks, no buy downs, nothing in the structure that will take away from our optionality in the long run. And as we typically see with streams, it's that tail that adds a lot of value to shareholders as the company continues to define those resources. Another very important part of this streaming transaction is a new innovative ESG feature that we're able to structure with our partners, where for every ounce of gold delivered to Nomad, we will pay $30 an ounce back into the operation. And that $30 is for every gold ounce delivered until the end of the mine life. And the purpose of this funding is for Nomad to give back to the communities around the operation to help Equinox and Orion and Greenstone Gold Mines continue to invest in the local communities and invest in environmental programs to lessen the impact of the mine. It's a very significant investment on our part. It's new to the royalty space. There are no other structures like this currently. And we think something that demonstrates our high alignment with the operators and our commitment to ESG as a company operating in the mining space. So as a whole, the transaction is very significant for us. It shows that we're a new company, but we are able to punch above our weight and structure transactions like this one, which is going to be one of the larger streaming transactions in the royalty space this year, and bring that value to our shareholders. And this is just the first. We want to continue to replicate this model going forward, and this is definitely a proof of concept that our team is able to do that. And finally, it's very important to highlight, the commitment of Orion to Nomad and Nomad's business model. Orion is a 70% shareholder of Nomad. For those of you who don't know Orion, they're a private equity fund based out of New York, but with with offices around the world. They're involved in many types of financing arrangements with mining operations around the world. And they're really acting as a second corporate development team for Nomad. And we're getting a lot of deal flow from Orion, such as Greenstone, and there's many more that we are working on as well. But fundamentally, it shows their commitment to our business and their long-term view, and the partnership that we have with this really great private equity fund. So in conclusion, this is a very significant piece of news for Nomad, a proof of concept of what we can do. It demonstrates that, from a standing start in May of 2020, we've come a long way and really shown what we can do as a team and the expertise that we have, the unique pipeline of opportunities that we have, and the backing of a really great shareholder. Thank you very much. Have a great day.